Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome to our weekly Q&A. Now, we normally don't do Q&As on Tuesday. In fact, we normally do a lot of things on Tuesday, which you're not seeing today. Not many videos going up at all because Dice Tower, for the most part, is taking the day off. Pretty exhausted everyone is after Dice Tower East. A lot of work done there. We got the Summer Spectacular starting next week, after which we'll take a slightly longer vacation, and then we're back on for a long time. So lots of videos going up anyway. Even though we were at Dice Tower East last week, lots of videos, so hopefully you enjoyed them. So if you're looking for Board Game Breakfast yesterday, it's actually moved to tomorrow. You have Board Game Breakfast back to back on Wednesday and on Thursday. Alrighty, let me check a couple things here. All right, we look so good. Not so good, but anyhow. If you have any questions, here's the place to answer them and talk. I think Dice Tower East went great. Don't ask me that, because that's what I'm going to say. The interview with Wendy is coming. It's just going to be several weeks from now. Dice at the Table has been postponed for a bit. Let's see here. Mostly just people saying hi to each other. So anyway, when you get to some questions, lots of games coming in the mail here. I'm definitely behind on my game playing, but I'll probably get around to playing a few games maybe this weekend. Definitely after Summer Spectacular, I will get a lot of games played then. How many times did I play Ark Nova over the course of Dice Tower East? The answer to that is 0. Not only did I not play it, I only taught it once. It wasn't a hot game stable twice, and it was in the library, so it was definitely very hot. People were playing it all the time. But I didn't teach as many games over the con as I wanted to, if only because I was just running around making sure everything was going okay. Let's see here. The most checked out games of Dice Tower East, I have that information, but I'm going to be saving that for a separate video. So you'll just have to wait till then. What game do you feel is the best combat mechanism? I don't know off the top of my head, but I'll do a top. We haven't done top 10 combat mechanisms for a while, so that's a top 10 list we'll do in the future. I was wondering if you could do the component drop or dice drop to Christmas music this year like you've done in the past. Maybe. Those videos don't get watched that much, by the way, considering the amount of work that goes into them. We'll see. I was considering going to Dice Tower West next year. Worried as a solo traveler it wouldn't be as much fun. I don't know. All I can say is ask people about that. If you are at a convention like that solo, you definitely can find people to jump in and game with. Is there any leftover merchandise from Dice Tower East still available for purchase? No. Are you looking forward to the new release from Splatter? No. People keep asking about this top 10 from the book. The book no longer exists as far as I know, so I cannot keep doing top 10s from it. How much time did it take to do the X-Men videos? A considerable amount. I would say, I don't know, the better part of 3 days I was recording those. Not to mention recording them, but I spent a lot of time making the information down. I had to mark all the different X-Men. I went through, looked at their stats, gave them ratings, and did a lot of work on that. Is there an event schedule I can see from Dice Tower East to see what it would feel like? Yeah. If you want to know what Dice Tower East felt like, then literally just go watch a room of open gaming. That's what it was. We had very few events. A couple flea markets, a couple Wits and Wagers games, Ignacy from Portal Games had a few panels, but there was very few events. It's just about gaming for the most part. And I saw some videos posted online where people are doing that. We'll do a blog ourselves here on this channel where you'll be able to see all the different things going on. So there's a lot of stuff coming your way in that regard. What are your thoughts on the challenges of ordering games on Amazon Prime Day? I have no thoughts on that. Order them or don't order them. What do you mean by the challenges? Listen, folks, and I keep telling people this. If you have to spend hours and hours and hours to save a little bit of money on games, and that's stressing you out, then I would consider looking for a part-time job for those hours and hours and hours, and then just buy the game normally. Sometimes I think we put more work into trying to find a cheaper price than we do just playing games. I mean, Amazon Prime Day is coming up this week, I guess. I've heard a lot of announcements about it. Fine, fantastic. I'll probably pop online every once in a while. But here's the deal. I'm only going to order something from Amazon Prime if it's something I was already planning on ordering. Maybe I might wait to Amazon Prime to see if it comes up. But buying things on sale just because they're on sale, you're still spending money. Well, whatever. You all know this. I don't know why I'm not going to start lecturing people on that. How was the visit with the new family member? It was good, but very disappointing in many ways because I wanted to spend a lot more time with him and I just didn't have the time. I was spending almost all my time at Dice Tower East. So I'm going to see him again in September, so maybe I'll have more time there. Favorite artwork on the inside of a game box. I got some game boxes where the designer or the artist drew us custom pictures. And so that's my favorite. Nidavellir, I have it. I have it for King of New York. I think they drew on the inside of it. How should I propose to my girlfriend? Nicely. I'm not telling people how to do that. I just remember I forgot to finish the pledge man for this year's Dice Tower Kickstarter. When's the deadline? I would prefer if you did it as soon as possible. Promos are coming in right and left here. I mean, while we were at Dice Tower East, I got 20 boxes of promos that showed up. So there's lots of stuff coming for that. You can still back it if you want to. Just go to DicetowerKickstarter.com. How were you able to upgrade the Dice Tower carts so the wheels didn't fall off like they did at Dice Tower West 2020? We took the games off the top 3 shelves, which is more work for sure, but we got it done. And while it was more work, no wheels broke. What new game have you played recently you think has the best chance of breaking into Board Game Geek Top 100? Ark Nova. Apart from Tom Vasel, which individual do you revere in the board game industry? Are you saying, do I revere myself? That seems like a weird thing to do. Laura Vasel, probably. If there's any theme or IP for the next Unite set, what would I choose? I choose DC for sure. I'd love to have DC versus Marvel. That'd be a lot of fun. Over the years, are there things you wanted to accomplish that didn't come to fruition? If so, how do you deal with disappointment when something you work on fails to come together? I don't know. It happens a lot. You don't dwell on it. You just move to the next thing, I suppose. Will there be any tips or info for Gen Con? We'll probably do a pre-Gen Con video with tips and stuff. Although, honestly, it's been so long since I've been to Gen Con. I mean, we went last year. I wouldn't even know what tips to offer up at this point. Marbles are back next week? No. Oh, yes. You will see the Marble Grand Finale Poobah race, the Summer Spectacular race, and then that will be it for a couple months. How is Fuzzy the dog? Glad that we're back from Dice Tower East. She didn't like that. Legacy games were really hot and interesting, but maybe because of commitment and limited play, the number of Legacy games seems to have dropped. What do you see as the future of Legacy games? I really feel like I have to say this all the time. There was never that many. There's less than 20 in existence. People, when they first announced the second Legacy game, which by the way was years after the first, and then everyone's like, oh, Legacy games, they're going to be everywhere. And I said, they're not. They're really hard to design. And then people said, there's tons of legacy games. And I said, there's not. And now people say there's fewer legacy games. I guess there never has been many of them. There's very few legacy games in existence. I did a video on my top 13, and since that time, a couple more legacy games have come out. And there's a couple more that have been announced this year. They're really hard to design. They'll never take over the industry because they're difficult. They're one-time use. There's nothing has really changed. There never was that many. There's a lot of games that call themselves legacy games that are not, but there's very few true legacy games. What do I see the future legacy games? The same as every other game. With all you have to do at a convention like Dice Tower, when do you have time to eat? I make time to eat. I ate at least once a day. I tried to grab a little bit of breakfast before I left the room. I was usually down at the convention hall by 5:45. That was my goal this year. And I crashed a couple times around 8 or 9 because that's a long day. I went off for lunch or dinner every day just to get off and leave, I think. Yeah, I think I did that. I did not eat much at all when I was there, actually. Zulkin is now 10 years old. Have you heard anything about a deluxe anniversary edition? No. Do you think that's warranted? No, I don't know that every game needs an anniversary edition. Do board game companies make crowdfunding bad? My friend explained it to me like this. It's like movie studios would stop making movies unless you prepaid for movies. Sure, but if everyone stopped funding Kickstarter, it wouldn't work. But it is working, and you still don't have to back Kickstarters to get games. You can wait till post-Kickstarter to get games. If you go to a game store or to Barnes & Noble or Target or wherever else sells games, there's still tons of games there that you can buy right now. You can go to Amazon. You can go to Game Nerds, and you can get games there. Speaking of Game Nerds, we have a contest. And speaking of Game Nerds also, you definitely want to keep an eye on them because very soon, I believe it's July 15th. Well, let's just go to their website and look. They're having their, I think it's July 15th. Yep, July 15th is Nerds Day. So Nerds Day, the 24 hours of deals. And I'll tell you this, folks, I have seen those deals. I know the games that are on, and I cannot reveal them to you, but they are excellent, good games that are going to be on sale all day. So there you go. That's better than Prime Day. Forget Prime Day. Nerds Day at Game Nerds. But we have a contest for Game Nerds to get a $10 gift certificate. So let's open that up. To enter this contest, you simply need to email us at contest@dicetower.com. And in the subject line, put the word paper bag, and then in the body, tell me what you used when you went to school for lunches. Did you use paper bags, a plastic lunchbox, or one of those commemorative tin lunchboxes, which are quite pricey today, but weren't really that good, but all the other kids were jealous. All right. So email us at contest@dicetower.com with that. So you can win a $10 gift certificate to Game Nerds. Am I looking forward to the second editions of Dominion Seaside? Already played it. Prosperity and Hinterlands. I guess. Do you like the upgrade packs as a way to keep a game fresh? Sure. Or would you rather a brand new expansion? I'm fine with the way they're doing it. Any chance you'll return to having 180p, 60 frame per second video, especially live streams? I love the 60 frame per second versus 30. We should be streaming, honestly, in 1080. If we haven't, that's a mistake on my part that I haven't switched it back. But I don't even know what I'm streaming in right now. You can't change that while you're streaming anyway. You'd have to change it beforehand. But if we're not streaming in 1080, we stopped in our last studio because the streaming there was not particularly fast. But for our live gameplays, we can easily do 1080. I won't promise 60 frames per second because that doesn't always look good. It might look good to you, but it doesn't always look good to everybody else. We'll have to see. Any hints on the Kickstarter theme for next year? It's more generic than past years, I guess would be the best hint I can give. What game do you think you played the most in 2022 so far? Oh, that's very simple. Marvel United. I've definitely played that the most. I haven't been in live chats for a while, so I'm sure you've answered this before. What happened to your dressy tie outfits? Well, I think I wore one last time. I'm just not wearing one today because today is an off day and I'm just here in the office working, so I just happened to wear this shirt. But I'll wear a tie tomorrow. Don't worry. For the At the Table show, do you show the guests the questions on Board Game Geek ahead of time to prepare even if they don't get asked? Yes. I don't ever like gotcha questions unless someone asks for a gotcha question. I don't want to do that. How much personal interaction can one expect with you, Mike, and Z if we're at Dice Tower West? If you come to one of the Dice Tower conventions, you can have personal interaction with us. Just hunt us down and talk to us. I'm sure I didn't talk to everyone at Dice Tower East, but I would have if you came and talked to me. I tried to talk to a lot of people. I know some people would talk to me when I was in the middle of running somewhere, but I tried to talk to people as much as I possibly can at these. Let's see here. The real question should be, when will the roll and write train stop? Probably not for a while. Roll and write games are incredibly easy for board game companies to publish because usually it's just a sheet of paper and rules. So that's not a lot of effort that they have to put into it. Now, sometimes they have a deck of cards. Sometimes they have a few pieces, but they're much easier. And as you can tell from many of them, the development effort has not been put into many of them either. I'm not saying that's all of them. There's a lot of good roll and write games out there. But there's definitely a lot of them that were written on the back of a tissue. Have I upgraded the trees for photosynthesis? I don't think so. I might have glued them together. Top 5 Smash Brothers characters. It's been a while since I played Smash Brothers, but I liked, the last time I played, not Waluigi, Wario. I like Wario. I like Donkey Kong. I like Kirby. And those are the 3 I can remember off the top of my head. I like this. Tom, did you get my email? Sure. I don't know what that means. I get hundreds of emails every day. What's my favorite pasta shape? The bow tie, of course. Is today Prime Day? I haven't even noticed. I'm not paying attention. I bought something from Amazon today. Huh. Why did you have to box the library up and not just keep them on the shelves? No, we boxed the top 3 shelves of each shelf, which made them a lot easier to move. And then it didn't break the wheels at all. I love how you have to restrain yourself when talking about Marvel stuff. Would you ever consider introducing a segment on comics where you can unleash yourself? Well, I would like to talk about comics, but here's the thing. I'm a very casual comics fan. Yes, I know a lot about Marvel comics, and I've read a lot of Marvel comics. But there are people who read way more than I do, and I would never be able to keep up with them. Although I'm still not convinced that a lot of the authors of current Marvel comics have read old ones. Are the dates for Dice Tower East 2023 set already? They are. I don't know what they are off the top of my head, but they're almost always the week of July 4th. So since July 4th was Monday this year, it will be Tuesday next year, I think. So therefore, it would still be that same week. Did you ever find the hotspot from Dice Tower East? We did not. We got another one. Let's see here. What 2022 release have you played the most? X-Men United. Will you release a map of the who's who of Dice Tower on the playmat puzzle? Yeah, we'll probably do that. I know we did it for last year, so we can do it again. Let's see. Why are there 20 likes and 200 people watching? I don't know. I guess it's better than 5 likes and 5 people watching. What was the deal with that fire alarm on Sunday at Dice Tower East? Well, I didn't hear one, so I have no idea. What was the total attendance number for Dice Tower East? It was 1,600. And you said higher or lower than pre-COVID? Well, we never had a Dice Tower East pre-COVID. I know a lot of people are comparing Dice Tower East to Dice Tower Convention, but they're very different things. Dice Tower Convention I did not run. I had no input in on anything other than the name. I would argue a lot about how I wanted things to be done. But at the end of the day, I got no money from that convention other than, they paid for our rooms and stuff at the hotels, but we didn't get anything else, and they paid for some of our meals, but we didn't get anything else. I had no say in it. The finances, I didn't know much about them at all. And so I decided that that was something we should take charge of, so that I could put my own personal brand on it, which we did on Dice Tower East. Now, since it's at the same hotel, it obviously looks very similar, but there are some major changes. First of all, we have a different leadership team in place. And I think if you saw Sharon and Camilla, they did a fantastic job running that convention. I thought it was amazing. We have a completely new library. The original Dice Tower Convention library was auctioned off and sold. In fact, I had someone just email me that they got a copy of a game from it, but that was never my library. So we have our own library, and then you'll see other changes as time goes by. The size of the convention that we had it this year, which was, I believe we had 1,700 badges sold and around 1,600 people showed up, that happens at cons. People don't always show up. But that is the exact same thing we will do next year. We will add no extra tickets. So when we do announce that it goes on sale, don't fool around. Get your tickets because it did sell out this year. And I'm not going to be adding more badges. We really like that size. We thought we fit in that convention very well. So there you go. I see the World Series of Board Gaming is having you attend. Are you going to be there the entire time? Or are you going to be in the competitive games? Well, so I will be at the World Series of Board Gaming. I don't know if I'm going to get there at the very beginning, but I'll be there for the vast majority of it. And in fact, I'll be doing some commenting on some of the games, on the World Series, I think, itself. The final game. But the Dice Tower is sponsoring the open play area, which of course you know something I like a lot. And in fact, the library for that open game area is coming from Dice Tower West, the Dice Tower West library. So I will be there. If you come by, I'd love to hang out and chat with you there. I'll be busy doing a few things, but I'm not involved in any of the games. I'll just be going around commenting on several of the games and hopefully hanging out with you all. It's going to be a lot of fun. The World Series of Board Gaming still has some tickets available for people who want to get involved, and you could win a whole pile of money if you're good at games. Top 5 Smash Brother items? I have no idea. I'm not good enough to even know that. Donkey Kong? Yeah, well, I've always said donkey, so I can't stop myself from saying it because it rhymes with monkey, which makes sense in my mind. Top 5 Dominion expansions? I'm pretty sure I've done a video on that. If I haven't, I will do one eventually, but I'll wait till a few more expansions come out. Let's see here. What game do you think you have the best chance of winning at the World Series of Board Games, even if it's a small chance? Cosmic Encounter. Can we get a schedule of events for the remainder of this week? Well, if you're talking about live events, tomorrow morning we have Board Game Breakfast, and then tomorrow afternoon we have Crowd Surfing. Thursday morning we have Board Game Breakfast again, and then Thursday afternoon we'll be doing our top 10 nature-themed games. And then I don't think there's any streaming on Friday. Probably, but you never know. But probably not. How do you avoid rules fatigue? I don't know. I read a book that's not rules to help get my mind off it. Oh, have you read any good books recently worth mentioning? I have not. I've read a little bit over the past couple of weeks, but not much. How do you decide the board game box that feature in the backgrounds of some of your videos? Well, sometimes we have our things are sponsored, so there might be a sponsored game there. But the vast majority of time, I just randomly put board game boxes there. And sometimes I do it because I'm like, people are going to wonder why I put that board game up there. I did it for no reason at all. What's the most inconvenient thing you've ever lost? I think that my wallet, probably. I don't think, I mean, nowadays maybe the phone would be as critically annoying to lose. But keys, I suppose. Keys, phone, wallet. Those are the three most annoying things. Tom, could I play you at a board game online? You can pick the app game. No, because I really, 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 really hate playing board games online. I play apps occasionally. Sometimes I play Hearthstone against people who online, but very rarely. I simply would rather play board games in person. I was wondering if there's a specific type of contributor you still like to add to the Dice Tower crew. Not particularly. When people tell me they have an idea, I take it and run with it and talk to them, and maybe I see if I add it. But I'm not like constantly going out and looking for that. Tom, the hunt for the bargain is part of the thrill for some. Sure, that's fine. If people hunt for bargains, I don't mind that. But don't get stressed about it and complain to me about it then. Like, oh, man, I stood in line for 2 hours. That's on you. No one made you do that. It wasn't like you were standing in line to get critical medicine for your child or high gas, there's very little gas that they're rationing out. You stood in line to get a discount. And if you want to do that, then hooray. I'm not going to try to yuck your yam or whatever they say. But if you sit there and go, oh, I've been standing in line forever, I have zero sympathy for you. Or like, oh, it's so hard to find good deals on Amazon Prime Day. Okay. You don't have to get stuff. As a heads up, folks, I don't answer every question that comes through here. If you ask that question many, many, many times, that just means I skip it many, many, many times. It's not like the 7th time I see it, I go, okay, now I'll answer it. I just don't want to answer every question. For no reason or so. Can we suggest themes we like to see for the top 10? Sure. You can always do that. And I take ideas and suggestions from people, and sometimes they become reality. Sometimes they don't. You never know. Can't wait to see everyone at the Gen Con, the live show. That's right. So we have a 1,000-seat show, and there is, I think, last I looked, 245 tickets left for it. So if you want to get in, there's still plenty of space. Maybe it will sell out, maybe not. But either way, we're hoping it'll be a good crowd. Is there a place you keep a Dice Tower schedule for when series content is posted or streamed? No, I don't think we have something like that up necessarily, although you can always go to the channel to see what's upcoming. On Board Game Breakfast, are you going to talk about the Season 4 finales for Stranger Things? Oddly enough, yes. I'm running out of space for future board games, and my girlfriend says I need to get rid of old games and make space if I want to buy new games. I find this tough. Any tips to help me out here? Yeah, get rid of some games or stop buying new ones. I don't know what other tips to give you. Control yourself. I mean, you don't need to get new stuff all the time. And if you're finding it hard to get rid of old games, and then stop buying new ones. You got to do one of the two. Or make friends with people who buy the games and then you can play their copies. Does Vernon see royalties for his amazing paintwork on the library? I might argue that Vernon has painted a couple games in the library, but the vast majority of games in the library currently are painted by Wendy Yee and Holly Vasel, and they've done a fantastic job. And yes, I paid them both. And there's various other people. There's Rob. Why am I forgetting his last name? Rob Oren has painted a few things in the library. I think Sam's painted something. Roy's painted a couple things. There's a few people, but again, Wendy and Holly have done the vast majority of the games. Board game breakfast for tomorrow isn't scheduled yet? Well, I'm sure Mike will schedule it soon. Is it hard to determine which game to play with which group of people? No, I just kind of look around and say, let's play this game. What 3 tips would you give for a first-time cruise goer? Alas, not a Dice Tower cruise? Oh, then I'm not going to help you out there. You got to come on one of my cruises if you want my help. No, but I always look online. There's so many good YouTube videos that give very specific things on that. Ken here says if you list, I'm going to assume Ken means if you lose. If you lose a piece integral to playing a game, you make. Okay, you have a lot of spelling mistakes, I think. Do you make a proxy piece for the future, buy a new game, or just never play it again? Well, probably make a proxy piece if at all possible. Online bargain hunting doesn't feel the same. I do love going to half-price books and seeing what used games are there. I agree. I really enjoy, on a personal level, going to a used bookstore just to find books, to discover books. And that's even what I like about going to a board game store. You definitely don't have that same feel online. And even if you do online, you can't pick it up and manipulate it at all. Spababa orchards will be opening up next month. What are your 3 favorite types of apples? I don't know if I have them. I mean, I like Granny Smith apples. I like the new, I forget the name of them now. Let me look online and see. Granny Smith apples, although I don't want Granny Smith apples all the time. I can tell you apples I'm not a big fan of, more so than ones. Honeycrisp, I like Honeycrisp. I do not like Macintosh apples, particularly. Golden Delicious and Red Delicious are the biggest lies of any apple. I seriously think they named them so that people will be like, this is our Red Delicious apple, but does it taste good? It's in the name. Try it. This isn't good at all, but he said it was delicious, so I guess it is. I'm just not a big fan of them. Here's a poster of apples. Oh, it's a whole book on apples. Well, I'll just say Golden Delicious, and I liked the Honeycrisp apples. Fine. So I'm just going to give you 2 for now. Let's see here. Is there anything you're looking really forward to seeing at Gen Con? People! I see you're wearing a Marlins shirt. Are you a big sports fan? 100% no. I randomly, when I was a kid, picked teams. I can tell you the teams that I picked for baseball. I picked the Blue Jays. And then my second favorite team was the Marlins. And now that I'm in Miami, how convenient. But I couldn't tell you a player on either team. I used to follow baseball very strongly. You know, back when they won the World Series, and even before they won the World Series, I was a fan of the Blue Jays. For football, I picked the Dolphins as my favorite team, which again, moving to Miami was really convenient later on. I picked them because of their colors. For basketball, you know, I actually don't have a favorite team for basketball. I would just pick some random team, I suppose. Not a big fan of professional basketball. And for hockey, no, I didn't have a team for hockey. Maybe Red Wings, I guess, but I don't have any particular thing for that. For Olympics, I think that's interesting. I like watching sports. I think sports is an interesting concept. I can watch almost any sports games. I think soccer/football, I think, is interesting. I'll even watch golf occasionally. I find sports fascinating. I find people's love of sports fascinating. I just can't get into it like a lot of people do. Like if you took me to a football game, I'll watch, I'll cheer, I can be involved, but I'm more interested in everything around the game than the game itself. But they're fine. I'm just not a big sports fan. That being said, it's a great shirt. I really like it. Let's see here. Thank you to all the people who I did see at Dice Tower East, several of you. So I hope you all got home safely. I've heard mostly good things about that. How's the new studio coming along? Well, what a pain, but we're getting there. So the shed is now in our yard. It's been built. It's in the yard. It now has to go a little bit more inspection. Once that inspection's done, we need to get electricity in and wire all that up so we can get air conditioning in there. Once air conditioning's in there, we will then move everything into that shed. At that point, we will remodel our garage into the studio. That is where we're at, step at a time, but we're farther than we were. How do you store the library playmats? We store them in cardboard tubes. Those cardboard tubes are then placed in little racks that we have. Look at one of our convention blogs. They always show them off. The library sure must have a lot of playmats. Not as many as you think. I want to say we have... I think it's about 100 playmats. Have you tried the new Cosmic... Oh, I just got a thumbs down. I better sit up. Sorry, everybody. Have you tried the new Cosmic Encounter expansion? I have. I will be reviewing that probably in part, since part of it is a campaign type thing. Was your whole family at the convention? They were. I don't think I ever saw Amy. Well, Amy doesn't play board games, which is probably why you didn't see her. She came in and looked at her signs. All the signs that you saw that were scattered around the convention were designed by my daughter. She's graphic design in college. So she did all those, like the ones that said open gaming and hot games, and she did all that. I'm very, very, very happy with what she did. Are we going to paint all the Marvel United X-Men minis? Probably. I really like the game. What are my favorite types of videos to produce? Oh, probably top 10s. Has a top 10 subject been determined for your Gen Con show? You know what? I think so. We definitely had a meeting about it, but I don't remember what the final consensus was. Which are your favorite fireworks to watch in Orlando for the 4th? I didn't go see any of them. I'm just too busy. Let's see here. My Queen's Gambit has a mouse for a Gungan. Well, I didn't do that. I would not have even done that. I'm not sure who made that replacement. Someone must have stolen one of my Gungans. Let's see here. Have I visited Mount Rushmore? No, I've never been there. I mean, maybe next time I visit my dad. My dad lives in Alliance, Nebraska, and I think that's not particularly far from Mount Rushmore. Let's look. Alliance, Nebraska to Mount Rushmore, South Dakota. It is a 2-hour and 37-minute trip, so I guess that's not too bad. Because, I mean, I have meant to go there. Man, that's like in the middle of nowhere, too, to get up there. But what else is up there? Maybe I can see a couple more things. Custer State Park. Crazy Horse, I would like to see both of those. Wind Cave National Park. Well, that sounds interesting. But, I don't know what else is up there. South Dakota, I think, would be neat just to drive through in general. Maybe next time I visit my dad, but I have to get there first. I have to get to Alliance, which is in the middle of nowhere. You look at it in Nebraska, and you wonder who lives there. And my answer is nobody. I've been there. But the one thing Alliance does have, they have something called Carhenge. Yep, there it is, Carhenge. I've been there. I did a board game breakfast from Carhenge once. All right, so moving on. Where are we? Back to questions. Oh, people are now giving me apple flavors, I'm sure. Top 3 pie flavors? Are you serious? It's going to be key lime and then probably peach, because peach pie is pretty great, although a mixed berry pie is also stronger than a chocolate mousse pie. Lots of people are saying apple names here. I know you said you like Iron Brew, but next time you're in the UK, I think you should try Bar, another drink from the same company. Okay. Did you run into any board game issues playing board games on a boat that you don't run into on land? Well, if you need a piece for a game there and you forgot it, you can't get it. That's the biggest difference. The boat rocks. That might affect some dexterity games, but I never felt it rocking enough for that to be a problem. Let's see here. Do you mark off achievements in Marvel United with the downloadable achievement sheets from CMON's website? Didn't even know they existed, and I will not do that. I'm not a big fan of achievements anyway. The only time I'll do achievements in video games is if I get some reward for doing it. So like, oh, if you do this achievement, you get plus 2% to your accuracy. I'm on board. I'll do achievements then. But if achievements are just there for me to check off, I'm like, who cares? I know that people like that sort of thing. That means nothing to me. Very funny to randomly pick favorite teams. Yeah, I don't know. We just, as a kid, me and my brother, we kind of did that. We would pick teams, but we didn't have any real rhyme or reason at the beginning. But once we picked a team, we were like, we're going to be loyal to this team. I was never a big fan of being local. I thought, I guess just a little bit of rebellious. I didn't want to like the same team everybody else did. So I wasn't going to root for the Phillies. I wasn't going to root for the Eagles or 76ers or Flyers. I have a soft spot for those teams. I mean, I'm glad, especially the Phillies and Eagles have won in my lifetime, and that's good for the fans of those teams and stuff. And I'm always amused by Philadelphia fans. They're the rudest fans I've ever met. They boo their own teams, which I find fascinating. And woe betide you if you go to one of their games and then root for the other team. But I was just like, I'll just pick some teams. Well, I like the Blue Jay colors. I like that blue. That was one of the reasons. I like the Dolphins colors of the teal and orange together. I thought I just enjoyed that. That probably had something to do with it. I might have also picked the Dolphins because I like Dan Marino, so that's a possibility. Do I like Skyrim? The answer to that is yes, but I think I'm done with Skyrim. I might go back and play it, but seriously, come on. I need them to make the sequel in my lifetime. Once upon a time, you were doomed if your favorite team was a team outside of your area because it was rare to be able to watch their games on TV. Well, you just waited till they played your home team, that's all. Nowadays, you can watch anything anywhere. Sure, but I don't know if that's doomed. Where did you get the grimace? Well, I mean, sometimes I just frown. You mean this guy? Where is he? This is Funko. I don't know. I buy Funkos of things I like, which is not many. But I got him and Kool-Aid Man. I like both of them. So, I don't remember where I got it. Probably on Amazon. Are the Marvel X-Men United rankings going to be re-uploaded with correct information, lots of editing mistakes, and hero names throughout the series? Well, let me rephrase. Let me explain a little bit there. There was no editing mistakes, actually, except that when Chris did the output on each of these, for some reason there was a glitch in the program, and so it it just shot out incorrect information, which we did not catch because he checked it inside the editing program. Everything was fine. But when I export it and post it, and since they were recorded on top of each other, he would have to go back and redo all of them from scratch, which took days and days and days and days of work. I would like to redo them all, frankly, but we have a sort of fix in mind. Just stay tuned. What are the factors that go into purchasing a game from the library? Nobody plays it. Oh, Super Chat. Do you like the game Buzz? Never played it, but it's ugly. I saw you unbox it, but never review it. Yep. By the way, I love the channel and all the work you put in it. Well, thank you. That's nice of you to say. Do I have a favorite store in Europe? No. Sorry. I don't think I've been to enough. Is there a picture of the library I can see? As you won't tell me how you store Marvel United. Can I see anywhere? I don't have a storage solution. I just put it in the boxes. Sorry. There is no storage solution. If you saw my storage solution for Marvel United, you would probably be annoyed. Corey says, Architect's blueprint holders work very well for playmats. Sort of, but they're also immensely expensive. I would only recommend that to the richest of backers. It's people who have games. They're just, I looked into them. They're really, really pricey. I know you didn't really enjoy Unfair. Will you try any of the new expansions, or are you totally done with it? I almost never play expansions to a game I don't like. I don't know why I would. I love the coverage in X-Men Unite with all the new villains. Do you think the super villain mode is better now? I still won't play it much at all. Maybe someone out there can think of one, but is there a game that's a co-op game where they added an expansion that allowed a player to play as the bad guy and it made it fun? I can't think of one because, like, for example, Pandemic. I don't want to be the bad guy in Pandemic. That wasn't fun. And other games were like, well, now someone can play the bad guy. Usually I think it worked okay for United, but meh. Have I ever thought of opening up a board game rental store? Well, I do. It's called Dice Tower East. Will you ever be back to Origins? I'm not going to say I won't be back to Origins, but I don't know that I will go back. We just only have time to go to so many. And for us, everything that we would see at Origins, we can see at Gen Con. Do you like being a YouTuber? No, I hate every single moment of it. No, it seems good to me. Fine. Tom, in the past, you've complimented some games that might be considered mean. What's the line or nuance between mean and take that? When I say take that, you are definitely attacking another player, but there are other ways for games also to be mean. Also, I mean, I don't know that it's that big of a deal, right? I just talk about different games. When will we see Sam again? Well, I have no idea when you're going to see Sam again. That's a weird question to ask. Maybe you live near him and you'll see him tomorrow. I don't know. Were your parents supportive when you decided to do a board game content as a career? So I started doing it as a career just a decade or so ago. So my mom has been passed away now for 5 years. I don't remember what she thought of it particularly. They weren't like opposed to it. I think they never quite understood it. That's mostly what it is. When will Crowdsurfing be on air? Tomorrow. I love the rooms at the Carré, but man, I do wish there was some way to get to the convention without having to go outside. It was so oppressively hot. I would recommend maybe renting a little driver person to come and just pick you up then at your door and drive you to the con. Come on now. Yes, it was hot outside. It also was like a 2-minute walk. If you were in one of those towers, you walk out the back door of the tower, you have to cross the parking lot and walk in the convention center. It was hot, but it wasn't that hot. It wasn't like surface of the sun hot. In fact, when the convention was over, I went and walked around, like on Sunday. Me and my wife and Jason and Sharon, we went to Disney Springs. We walked around there for a long time, and we were fine. No one died. That's one of those things when people complain about it. Like sometimes people go, it was a really long walk from the hotel to the convention. I'm thinking those people have never been to Gen Con or Origins. But also, it's just not that big of a deal. That's one of those things. It'd be nice, I suppose, if we had an air-conditioned hallway. I know some people want the hotel and the convention center to be just one big building. I just didn't think it was that far. It was very hot in Orlando last week. There's no question on that. But it's kind of that hot all over the place. So you would have been walking in the heat probably somewhere. You're setting up your ideal Marvel United game, says Marty. What villain and team are you picking? He then answers his own question by saying, I know you've done all the rankings. That's it. I just pick some stuff and play with it. I put no thought into that. I'm the weirdo who will take cake any day over pie. I don't think that makes you a weirdo. It just means you like cake better. Cake is good. No love for pumpkins. Not in the top 100 pies for me. Why do you wear a hat, says John? Well, I'll tell you why. Hats look good. Fedoras should be back. This should be a requirement for people in general. I think fedoras look good. But also, they work really well. Remember we were just talking about it being hot outside? These are great in the heat. They keep the sun out of your eyes. They keep the rain off your face. They're just all around good. People always say, I like your hat. There's like no downside to these. Well, maybe they're not cheap hats, fedoras. Do you know your schedule for PAX Unplugged? Not even a little. Tom, how could you have multiple shark questions for Wits and Wagers event the day before I got to Dice Tower Con? Shark fans across the world want to know. Probably those shark fans will wonder why maybe you didn't show up on time to go to the one with the shark questions. I was there. Let's see here. Moving on. Do you like to travel? Sometimes. Do you or your team keep up with other board game channels for either pleasure or research purposes? I try to always keep an eye on everything that's going on. I can't watch everything or even know everything that's happening. I do not know every board game video channel that's out there, but I know most of them. Me and Loopy will welcome you to the 49er faithful whenever you're ready. Well, if it helps at all, I always root against the 49ers. The only team I root more against than the 49ers are the Cowboys. Let's see here. Philly fans are crazy. I'm from the region, but Patriots and Cowboys fans are obnoxious. If it helps at all, I found that any diehard fan of a sports team is fairly obnoxious towards other people. That's just how it works. Also, you usually call other fans obnoxious if you don't like their team and their team beats yours. Then you're like, that person's obnoxious. Well, yes. Very few people say, I'm a Cowboys fan. Cowboys fans are obnoxious. That very rarely happens. How much weight do Spiel des Jahres awards nominations recommendations weigh on your top 10 list? For example, if you reviewed all trick-taking games, do you feel you have to consider those that win awards? No. No. No way on earth would I allow a game winning an award to determine if it makes a top 10 list. That's no. No. Did you watch a new Buzz Lightyear movie? No. Will you be bringing back Sam more often? Probably not. It's very expensive to fly someone from the far west coast, and we don't bring in many people here if you notice. Most of the people who come in live fairly close. Would you like to have a Funko figurine of yourself? Probably not. That seems kind of weird. How do you think an Elden Ring board game would work out? I think it would be terrible. So the reason for the marble races going on hiatus over the next couple of months is because it's summertime and we need a break from them. Go-to diving board move. You know, I was just thinking, when we were at the pool, I went to the pool once over Dice Tower East, and I was thinking there's no diving boards, and most pools don't have diving boards anymore. Used to be almost every pool had a diving board. Very few do now. So I haven't jumped off a diving board in ages. My jump off a diving board would be just jump straight in. That would be it. Uline makes mailing tubes that are cheap and hold most playmats fairly well. That's correct. That's what I use. With the remodeling going on, are you thinking about expanding a library, or do you think the current library size will stay as is? I think the library will always sneak slightly larger, but it doesn't grow as fast as you think because I get rid of lots of games. Love watching the channel. Could you do a top 10 list of games that almost made you quit? I remember you brought up experience with Babel a while back. Are you saying quit the game? Because I've quit many games. Not because of other players, but usually like as a joint group, I'm like, listen, we don't have to finish this game. It's terrible. That's happened many, many times. Let's see here. Ba-da-ba-da-bum-bum-ba-da. Lots of people talking about Maverick now and Top Gun. Okay. Heat is relative, though. I imagine Floridians are immune to heat. I don't know about that. Again, I mean, I used to live up north and it would be hot, and I might go somewhere where it was hot. When I lived in Korea, it was not hot in Korea, and I would vacation in Malaysia sometimes, and Malaysia was very, very, very hot, and it's hot. But you just got to live with that. And again, the air conditioning in Florida is amazing. Is that massive multicolored 3D print in the shelf behind you Cthulhu? It is. It's a Cthulhu dice tower, actually. So I had a chance to print it out, and I had this rainbow, like, there's a rainbow filament, and I thought that would be funny. Who's your favorite Marlins players? I don't even know. Hats are terribly comfortable. I wouldn't be surprised if everyone wore them in the future. It feels like a line from a movie, maybe. Let's see here. Has Dice Tower ever considered covering tabletop miniature games? I have not. And I'll tell you why, because they're a lot of work. We have a few games here at the studio that if someone really likes it, like, for example, for me it's Marvel United, that will cover that more extensively than not. And like Z covers Arkham Horror, the Living Card Game. So it could happen if someone really liked it, but I don't go out of my way because I don't want to flood the channel with too much of that sort of thing. We do it with our favorite games, but that's it. You heard me talk about X-Men United. You won't hear me talk about it for a while now, but I like it a lot. But I did the videos, and now we're done. The Dice Tower Awards are during the Summer Spectacular. Yeah, let me tell you, next week, folks, you don't want to miss the Summer Spectacular. It's going to be going from Monday to Thursday. We're playing a bunch of cool games that you're going to get to see for the first time. We also have the Dice Tower Awards. I'm actually working on that. Since we're done here, that's the next thing I'm working on is the Dice Tower Awards. And we have the Dice Tower. There's an announcement thread. Folks, I know the announcements. There are some pretty big announcements from publishers that you will see live, exclusive here first next Thursday. You do not want to miss that. So that's that, folks. I am going to end the stream here because I got to get back to work, working on a Summer Spectacular. But we will be live here tomorrow on Board Game Breakfast. So we have stuff we'll talk about then. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Live Q&A on the Dice Tower.